On their 10th wedding anniversary, everything seemed picture perfect. The room was filled with friends, family, and colleagues. Flowers adorned every table, soft music played in the background, and glasses clinked with wine. She had worn a new dress, hoping for a memorable night. Her husband stood to deliver a toast. She expected something heartfelt about their years together. Instead, he raised his glass, looked across the crowd at a woman from his office, and said, "To Erica, the best thing that ever happened to me." Laughter rippled through the room, but it wasn't the warm, joyous kind. It felt uneasy, strained. She kept her expression neutral, trying to hide how deeply it stung. Erica sat there, smiling smugly, as if she belonged more than the wife beside him. He offered no explanation. He didn't even glance in his wife's direction. She forced a polite smile, unwilling to cause a scene, but inside, she was wrecked. A whole decade of marriage, and he chose to celebrate someone else on their anniversary. Later that night, she confronted him. "What did that toast mean?" she asked. He waved her off. "You're overthinking," he muttered. "Don't be so dramatic." She told him how much it hurt, and he rolled his eyes, calling her too sensitive. He insisted it was just a harmless joke, that everyone knew that. But as he drifted off to sleep beside her, she lay there wide awake, staring at the ceiling. She began to piece things together, the late nights, the frequent trips, the sudden obsession with his appearance. She had always believed him. Trusted him. But that careless toast shattered something inside her. Still, she didn't cry. She didn't lash out. Quietly, she picked up his phone and started going through it. Her hands were steady. Something had changed inside her. She didn't have all the facts yet, but she intended to find them. And when she did, she wouldn't yell or plead. She would make sure he remembered that night, the night he toasted another woman in front of his wife, for the rest of his life. From that moment on, she couldn't shake what he said. Deep in her gut, she knew it wasn't just a joke. She waited patiently, then checked his phone again when he carelessly left it on the table. This time, the evidence was undeniable. Messages between him and Erica weren't about work. He called her, "baby, my love." They made plans to meet in secret. The more she looked, the more she found, receipts for dinner dates, gifts, even a weekend getaway at an Airbnb. The dates stretched back months. Maybe longer. Her hands trembled, but her face stayed calm. She saved everything, screenshots, receipts, photos. She didn't confront him. She greeted him with smiles, acted like everything was fine. But deep inside, she was preparing. She searched Erica's name online. It didn't take long, Erica Carrington. Her social media was full of glossy photos, practiced grins, and self-love quotes. But then she noticed something. A man who appeared often in the pictures. Judging by the captions, he wasn't just a friend. He was Erica's husband. She dug deeper. Erica's Facebook and tagged photos confirmed it. One post read, "Date night with Miles, smiling face with heart eyes." That was the clue. Erica was married too. Suddenly, everything shifted. She found Miles Carrington's profile. He wore suits in most of his photos, had a composed, respectable air. He looked proud of his wife. Happy. Maybe even clueless. She didn't feel sorry for him, at least not yet. She simply needed to learn more. She created a new email account under a fake name. Quietly, she continued collecting evidence, saving it all for the right moment. She wasn't ready to strike, not yet. Revenge wasn't about chaos. It had to be calculated. She waited in silence, watching, gathering, preparing. The pain hadn't vanished, it was still there, but now it was colder, more focused. It had started shaping into a plan. She didn't want to cry anymore. What she wanted now, was to watch everything crash and burn. She confirmed what she suspected: Erica was married. Her husband's name was Miles Carrington. He worked in finance and came across as the type who always followed the rules. In his pictures, his suits were perfect, his hair neatly styled, his smile controlled. She began researching. His LinkedIn profile was polished and professional, showing a steady career path with the same company for years. A list of qualifications, accomplishments, and skills painted the picture of a dependable man. On Facebook, she found images of him and Erica, couple selfies from vacations, fancy dinners, captions filled with joy. They looked like a perfect pair, completely unaware of the storm brewing. One photo caught her off guard. He had written, "Grateful to have Erica by my side." That one stung the most. He believed in her. He didn't realize she was living a double life. He looked like someone who trusted easily. She doubted he had even the slightest suspicion about his wife's betrayal. She didn't feel pity for him, at least not yet. For now, he was just another key piece in the puzzle. She needed to move carefully. So, she created a fake email, completely anonymous. Using that burner account, she continued collecting evidence. She compiled everything: flirty texts between Erica and her husband, screenshots of affectionate messages, photos of receipts from restaurants, hotels. A folder on her laptop began to fill. This wasn't some short-lived fling. They had been hiding their relationship for months, maybe longer. She kept an eye on Erica's social media too. The hypocrisy infuriated her: posts about love, loyalty, and personal growth while lying to everyone around her. But she didn't react. She simply saved more. Miles posted, too. His updates were about work, peaceful weekends, and quiet dinners. He seemed content. Clearly, he had no idea what was unraveling behind his back. She studied their world, day by day, lie by lie. The betrayal ran deeper than she imagined, but it no longer shocked her. People like Erica knew how to play innocent. Still, she remained patient. There was no need to rush. Every screenshot, every receipt, brought her closer to her endgame. When she had what she needed, she organized it. Printouts of messages, date-stamped photos, billing records, and one crucial document, an Airbnb invoice. It all spoke for itself. She slid everything into a plain manila envelope. No sender name. No explanation. Just the truth. She found Miles Carrington's office address, easy to locate, given how publicly he lived his life. She mailed the envelope without hesitation. 3 days later, the burner account received a reply. Just one sentence: "We need to talk. Miles." That was all. But she could feel the weight behind it. He had read it. He knew. They arranged to meet at a quiet cafe, neutral, public, discreet. She dressed plainly, no makeup, nothing that drew attention. This wasn't about appearance. This was about closure. He was already there when she arrived, seated near the window, clutching a cup with both hands. His face looked worn, drained. She could tell sleep hadn't come easily. As she stepped in, he looked up. He recognized her immediately. No introductions were needed. He'd seen the proof. He didn't question it. "How long have you known?" he asked. "Long enough," she replied. His voice didn't break, but his eyes were red. His fingers trembled slightly around the cup. In that moment, she saw a reflection of her own grief. She told him she wasn't here for sympathy. She wanted something else, a plan. Not a loud, messy revenge. Something quiet. Intentional. He listened. She explained how she had stayed silent, waited, and observed. Now she wanted to act, but not recklessly. He sat in silence for a moment. Then he nodded. "I want them to feel what we felt." That was all it took. They talked a little more, voices low, careful. There was no need for anger, it was about taking back control. When they left, there was no goodbye. No handshake. No emotion. They simply walked in opposite directions. But now, they were allies. The truth was exposed. The wheels were in motion. She waited a few more days before taking the next step. Everything needed to feel natural. No one could suspect what was coming. One evening, she told her husband she wanted a quiet dinner, just the two of them. She said she'd been reflecting, that she didn't want to argue anymore. She spoke calmly, with no trace of bitterness. Told him she was ready to be more understanding. He looked startled at first. Then that familiar smug smile returned, the one he wore when he thought he had one. About time, he said, as if she had finally come to her senses. She told him to invite Erica. Said she wanted to meet her properly. If Erica really was just a friend and colleague, then dinner together shouldn't be a problem. He didn't even blink that he told her Erica would be thrilled to come. He acted as if it was some kind of personal win. He didn't question her change of heart, didn't look for a reason. His ego was too inflated to notice what was really happening. That same day, she used the burner email to message Miles. She let him know the dinner was set. His reply came fast, he was ready. The plan was simple on the surface. Erica and her husband would arrive for a quiet dinner. But Miles would already be there. The night would begin like any other gathering, warm, civil, harmless. But underneath, every part of it had been carefully designed to unravel the lies. She cleaned the house with care, setting the table with quiet precision. She chose the exact wine her husband liked best. Picked background music soft enough to feel comforting, but not distracting. It had to look and feel like a peaceful evening. But inside, she wasn't nervous. She was still. Focused. This wasn't about chaos or shouting. This was about clarity. Letting truth speak, without raising her voice. She walked Miles through everything, what to expect, when to speak, how to hold back. He listened and followed it to the letter. He didn't need convincing. He carried the same ache. Invitations were out. The stage was ready. They all thought it would be a pleasant evening. But no one was ready for what she had really planned. She spent the day making the house perfect. The dining table was spotless, candles lit, napkins folded just right. Music flowed gently through the room. The lights were warm, not too bright. 2 bottles of wine waited, uncorked. Just enough to loosen nerves. She wore something modest, her smile soft and composed. Everything needed to feel safe. Calm on the surface. But a storm sat quietly underneath. Miles arrived first. A crisp shirt, a steady face. He didn't look upset. He didn't look vengeful. They met in the kitchen, spoke in low tones, and went over the final steps. Then they waited. Soon, her husband arrived, with Erica beside him. Erica wore strong perfume and a beaming grin. Her husband looked smug, satisfied, confident he still had full control. As they stepped inside, Erica spotted Miles at the table. Her grin faltered, just for a split second. Then she laughed. "What a small world," she said, faking surprise. Her husband blinked, confused for a moment, but didn't ask. He was too self-assured to see the cracks. He sat down like it was just another evening, clueless to what had begun. She welcomed them with warm hospitality, almost overly warm. She poured wine, made polite small talk, asked about work, weekend plans. Miles kept silent at first. Nodded occasionally. His expression gave nothing away. Erica glanced at him repeatedly. Her laugh sounded thinner now. Her posture tightened. The food was simple but well made, not that anyone noticed. No one was focused on dinner. Eyes were watching each other more than the plates. Her husband, still convinced of his control, talked the most. His voice loud, stories long. Erica followed his lead, trying to keep up appearances, but her hand reached for her glass too often. She drank fast. Too fast. She asked questions too, but hers had edges. Polished on the outside, pointed underneath. Erica began to slip. Her words weren't as smooth. She tripped over simple sentences. Miles watched silently, eyes sharp, but his lips remained sealed. The laughter at the table felt forced. There was tension in the air between every smile. She stayed composed, gentle tone, kind eyes. No need to shout. The weight of the evening was doing all the speaking. No one said what they were thinking. But everyone could feel it. Something was coming. Dinner was still on the table, but the truth had already sat down with them. It was just waiting to be heard. Everyone had their seat. The food was warm, the glasses full, music still humming softly in the air. She brought out the first course, placing each plate down with care. Her smile never wavered. But her focus was razor sharp. She watched every flicker of movement, every unspoken glance. Then, softly, she spoke. "You know," she began, "after a decade of marriage, I've come to realize that honesty is the one thing that truly matters, even when it hurts." Her tone was soft, smooth, almost casual. No one replied at first. Her husband nodded, pretending to agree. Erica forced a smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. She continued, "And transparency matters, too. Being open. No secrets. No hidden truths." She turned her gaze directly toward Erica as she said it. Erica looked down, suddenly interested in her plate. Then, almost like a passing thought, she mentioned a trip her husband had taken, to Denver. She spoke lightly, like it wasn't a big deal. But the date she named didn't line up. Erica had once claimed she'd been at a family event that same weekend. Erica froze. Her fork hovered in midair. Her husband didn't react. Still chewing, still smiling, completely oblivious. Erica, however, grew uneasy. Her hands fidgeted. Her eyes darted. She sipped her wine, then set her napkin down, then picked it up again. She added another small detail. A hotel reservation. Nothing dramatic, just enough to stir the air. Erica reached for her glass again, this time her hand shook. Across the table, Miles remained silent, doing exactly what he was meant to do. He stared down at his plate, untouched food going cold. His silence spoke louder than anything. Erica kept glancing at him, unsure what he might know, or how much. Then she raised her glass, trying to stay in control. "To open secrets," she said with fake cheer. Her husband chuckled, thinking it was just a clever toast. Erica lifted her glass too, but her grip was tense. Miles joined slowly, still unreadable. The clink of glasses was soft, but it sliced through the room. Nobody said a word afterward. The silence hung, heavier than before. Her husband still didn't catch on. He smiled, still thinking the night was his to win. But Erica felt the shift. She sensed the floor cracking beneath her. The first course ended. So did the first facade. The real truth had begun slipping through, one sentence at a time. No one could stop what came next. She sat still, observing them all. Her voice remained calm, but her questions started to shift. They weren't warm anymore. Each one had something buried inside. She asked her husband about certain weekends, where he'd been, who he was with. Her smile was still there, but her eyes were like stone. He answered quickly, too quickly. No thought behind it. Erica squirmed. She picked at her food. Avoided looking up. The quiet between them thickened. Then, Miles finally looked up. His voice was level, but every word landed hard. "Erica," he said, "were you in Palm Springs with me last March, or with someone else?" The entire room froze. Erica dropped her fork. Her skin went pale. She opened her mouth, but not a sound came out. Her hands clutched the fabric of her dress under the table. Her husband's smile faded. He stared at Erica. Then at Miles. Then at his wife. Realization hit him in slow, sharp waves. He turned toward her, his face twisting. "What is this?" he snapped. "Why would you do this? Are you trying to destroy everything?" But she didn't yell. She didn't flinch. She looked him straight in the eyes and replied clearly, "I invited her husband tonight, because you invited her into our marriage without asking me." The room went dead quiet. Erica pushed her chair back and jumped to her feet. She looked toward Miles, searching for something, an answer, a chance to run. But Miles gave her nothing. Her husband stood too, pacing now, trying to piece the night together. The room that once felt warm and quiet now pulsed with cold tension. She remained seated, unshaken, fully in control. The truth no longer lingered in shadows. It had been laid bare. No denials. No pretending. The affair, the lies, the hidden moments, it was all out now. Her husband didn't say another word. He just stood there, stunned and burning with silent rage. Erica grabbed her purse and bolted for the door. Miles got up and followed, but not for her. He didn't chase. He just walked out slowly, drained and done. She stayed in her seat for a few more seconds, then stood up quietly. The truth had been delivered. And everyone had tasted its bitterness. The room was silent, but she felt no guilt. This was the moment she had been waiting for. And now, nothing would ever return to how it was. The second the truth came out, the entire room cracked open. Erica couldn't handle it. Her face flushed, red with shock, panic, shame. She didn't speak. Just grabbed her purse, shoved her chair back, and bolted for the door. Her heels clattered across the floor like an alarm. She didn't look at anyone. Just ran. Miles didn't try to stop her. He simply gave her one last, cold glance and turned to leave. Calm. Silent. No goodbye. Her husband stood motionless. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then suddenly, he exploded. He yelled. Accused her. Said she had crossed a line. Said she'd set them up. That she was destroying the life they had built together. But none of his shouting scared her. She didn't match his volume. She didn't even flinch. She stood there, still and quiet, watching him unravel. He ranted louder, saying she'd humiliated him, that she was tearing their family apart. But the more he spoke, the smaller he seemed. His face turned crimson. His hands trembled. Still, she said nothing. Then something inside him gave out. His voice broke. His posture collapsed. He looked around the room, like it was unfamiliar. Like he no longer recognized any of it. Not even her. He sank into the chair, silent at last, his eyes wide and vacant. She turned away and walked to the bedroom. No hurry in her steps. Just steady purpose. She opened the closet, pulled out a suitcase, and set it on the bed. The sound of the zipper pulling open was louder than all his yelling. She packed without hesitation. Clothes, shoes, essentials. The things that mattered. She didn't pause. Didn't turn around. In the other room, her husband sat alone. No more shouting. No more questions. Just the weight of what he'd done, and the sound of his own breathing. The truth had collapsed everything around him. And she? She felt nothing for him anymore. No pity. No remorse. He had made his decisions. Invited Erica into their marriage without a thought. Now, he was left to face what those choices cost. She zipped the suitcase, lifted it, and walked toward the door. No words. No tears. There was nothing left to say. The house was still. Except for the shattered glass, spilled wine, and the silence of a man left behind. She stepped outside. She didn't look back. The air was crisp. The street calm. One hand held the suitcase. But what she truly carried was peace. She hadn't cried. She didn't need to. Those tears had already fallen, long before tonight, in silence, in solitude, while he made her believe she was the one to blame. He had lied. Cheated. Humiliated her without flinching. He brought another woman into their life, and acted like it was nothing. She used to question herself, wonder what she'd done wrong, why she wasn't enough. But now she saw it clearly. The fault had never been hers. It was his arrogance. His dishonesty. His cruelty. She was done pretending. Done waiting for change that would never come. She didn't forgive him. She would never forget. Some wounds may stop bleeding, but they still leave scars. And he would have kept living a double life forever, if she hadn't ended it. He thought she was weak. Thought she'd stay silent. Thought she'd keep playing the role. He was wrong. Every detail that night, every word, every guest, had been part of her design. Now he sat in the wreckage, surrounded by what he created. She hoped this night stayed with him forever. Not because she walked away. But because she walked away with her dignity. She didn't leave as a broken woman. She didn't leave defeated. She walked out as someone who chose herself. Someone who gave truth a place at the table, and finally stood up for her worth. The pain had been real. But her strength was stronger. And in the end, she wasn't the one left behind. He was. What do you think? Did she make the right call by exposing the betrayal and walking away? Or should she have given him a chance to make things right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. And if stories like this speak to you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.